Hello there, Dan here, 24th of July. Welcome to Essex, UK. So USDA Zone 8B here. Where has the summer gone? What's the weather like where you are? Been a rather mixed year this year with regards to the weather, but it's been very good for quite a few crops actually. Runner beans I think are going to be quite good this year, and climbing French beans as well. So that's wonderful amongst many other things. So the purpose of the video today is to show you what I'm going to be sowing. So if you watched the introduction to this video, you'll see I've got plenty growing here. And I wish to continue in that same vein. Plenty of crops to be harvesting as much of the time as possible. And a good way of doing that is to make sure you just keep sowing, keep planting, make sure you know what you're planting is right for the time of year you're doing it, and hopefully you can get a nice good crop from your garden, your allotment, or wherever you're doing your growing. So I've got myself all nicely organised. I've got my table here, my seed packets, got my growing medium I'm going to be using, and also my cell trays. So let's make a start and you can see what I'm planting at this time of year. So before I kick off with the planting, let me know in the comment section what you're sowing, planting, etc. at this time of year. Maybe put where you are, what part of the country, what part of the world, the USDA zone, etc. so people can learn and I can also learn. That's one good thing about this sort of thing. We can all learn from one another. So you can see what I've got here. Let's make a start and get planting. So we're going to be doing a little bit of modular planting here, and we're also going to be doing some straight sowing as well. There's a place for both in my opinion. You can utilise the two together or just stick with one depending on what your preference is. You know, it's just personal choice at the end of the day, a lot of this. One thing I like about cell trays is you can get your plants going, get them growing for when something else comes out, and you can go straight in with a little plug that's a little bit, you could describe, on the semi-mature side, if you will, and plant that out, and then you've got a little head start, so that can be good as well. So you can see my cell trays here. There's 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. There's 20 cells within each tray here, so I should be able to get plenty of planting going on. Now with regards to my growing medium, what I've actually got here, this is actually the contents of a grow bag which I got from Lidl. I think they were reduced if I remember correctly, and I used them for seed sowing, germinating, etc. a few weeks ago, and it worked very well indeed. So it seems to work, and it was a very good price as well, and it's also peat free, so that's nice as well. So let's do some planting. Now you can see I've already filled these up. So regarding planting, filling these up, very simple. Look at that, look. I like to work from a bucket as opposed to straight out the grow bag, less fiddly, and with a small cell tray like this, you can make sure that you're not wasting any growing medium by chucking it all over the floor. You could use multi-purpose compost, you could use dedicated seed compost, there's plenty about. Normally I use home-based multi-purpose compost, many of you are aware with that, but this is just what I'm using today, and as I stated before, I've had good results with it, so using it again, and I've got some left over. So just going to push these in like that, just to make a little indentation, ready for my planting of seeds. So my first seeds for planting today, I like a bit of lettuce, I do, and I'm going to be growing a variety here called Winter Density. It's fully hardy here in this climate, so we're just going to put 1 or 2 in each cell tray. Lettuce seeds are quite fine, very easy to blow away, so got to be careful when you're doing it. Let's plant. So here we go. Here's my cell tray. Going to get some seeds here. Now, if I end up with more than 1, if I end up with 2 in each one, I'm not particularly worried, to be honest. So there's 2 in that. I'm going to leave those, and literally all I'm going to do is just put them in like that. I mean, if you really want to make sure that you get a germination, you can put like quite a few in like that. You might have to prick some out if you want to, if you're particularly worried about just having 1 in situ. I generally don't exercise, gardening that's that specific, but it's all personal choice at the end of the day. There we go. So of course you can put them in a little tray and then prick them out at a later date. I generally prefer not to do that. I'm not saying I don't do it, but I don't do it that often because it's time I've got to find at a later date. Whereas if I do it like this, I can literally just germinate them in these and then plant them out. Saves that time pricking out. So little tags here, these are from some sort of bottle of some sort, which I cut up with scissors. And what I do, I just put the date on them. So today, 24th of the 7th. What it is, lettuce, and the variety Winter Density. And then I literally just put my tag on like that. Then from here, what you do, get a little tray like this and just put the compost on top. One lot of winter density lettuce set. So I'm going to grow some Oriental Greens this year. So this one here, organic red Mizuna. Quick growing Oriental used in salads and stir fries. One of the easiest and mildest to grow, makes a bunch of serrated leaves. The flowering shoots are also nice in salads when small. So a little bit of a peppery taste. I grew these before and a very nice crop to grow. And they look nice as well, a nice red colour. So Oriental Greens, this is a good time of year to plant them. Some of them you can plant in the spring as well, but Oriental Greens, when the temperature gets warm and the days get long, etc., that can cause them to bolt, go to seed. So that's one reason why you plant them at this time of year, because the days are getting shorter, etc. So good time of year to plant your Oriental Greens. So organic red Mizuna. Now they're like little brassica seeds, really. You know, like cabbage or something like that. That's what they look like. So what I do is literally I'm just going to go one per cell tray, just like this. Once again, if 2 or 3 fall in the cell tray, I'm not particularly worried about that. And exactly the same procedure, to be honest, as the lettuce winter density. Once again, if you wanted to, you could prick out, you know, plant in a seed tray, then prick out. Same reason as before, I don't do that. So let's get on with this. Plant these in, lovely jubbly, okie dokie, there we go. Chinese carriage. Same process once again. See, one of the benefits of having more than one seed in each one, if you get more than one germination, you can then prick out. If one doesn't germinate, you've got another one in. So time-saving gardening all round, really. And here we've got Santo round leaf yellow pak choi, very fast growing pak choi from Japan, with very pale green, almost true yellow, rounded leaves that can be harvested as soon as just 1 month after sowing, good cooked or in salads. So a month from today, potentially harvesting this is very good, will be in late August. So that's grand. Slightly bigger seeds than what I sowed previously, so that's good. So there we go. Once again, same procedure. Like some of these, I'm dropping like 2 or 3 in each one. Same reasons as described earlier. So here I've got spinach, Bloomsdale long standing. So this is a true spinach. It's not perpetual spinach, otherwise known as leaf beet chard, which is often used as a spinach substitute. This is true spinach. So true spinach can bolt with longer days, warmer temperatures, drought, etc. So this is a good time of year, I've found anyway, to sow true spinach, as well as in the spring as well. So let's sow. Now, true spinach seeds are much bigger. So I'll give you a little close-up of these actually. Now these are much easier to sow than the smaller seeds. So you truly can just go 1 per cell tray if you want. It's much easier to retain, you know, your discipline of 1. So let's have a nice close-up. So you can see here, look, seeds are much bigger. Now once again, look, if I want to put 2 in, really is no big deal. Not for me anyway. So it's just started to rain, and crikeys, look at that rain cloud coming this way. So let's get on with this. Now, another variety of true spinach I'm going to be planting, Spinach Medania. Exactly the same procedure as the Bloomsdale long standing, and in the cell tray. So I'm just going to do that once again, 1, 2, even if 3 fall in each cell within the tray, I'm not bothered about that. In they will go. So I've grown this before, and this is lettuce winter gem. Little gem cos for winter growing. Specially bred little gem cos to grow in an unheated greenhouse or in a cold frame for overwinter production. Delicious, small, crunchy sweethearts, equal in taste to little gem, making this a unique winter lettuce variety. So I'm actually sowing this a bit early. It says to start sowing it in September on here, but I'm not worried, I'm going to plant it anyway. So the same way as the winter density lettuce you saw me sow earlier. So I'm going to be planting some radishes now. Now radishes are really good. They're ready to eat very quickly, and you can eat the tops as well. So Sicily Giant, it's a rather large Radish. So isn't that wonderful? Now, I'm going to be planting these seeds actually in this container here. So in this container is a mixture of some of my own soil from this area, probably a bit of different sorts of composts, and also a bit of multi-purpose compost on top that I've had left over. So very non-specific here. You want it well draining, okay? That's a very important thing. So with regards to the usage of seed germinating compost, it's quite often a good idea to buy it fresh when you use it. Now, that's not always possible, of course, for a variety of reasons, but the reason I'm saying this is particularly with compost that's been laying around over winter, I've found that mites can sort of get in there and then they go on to eat your seedlings as they germinate, which is a very frustrating thing that can happen. It's happened to me many times, so it's good if you can to use fresh compost if possible for seed germination. So I'll show you how I'm going to be growing these Sicily giants, so let's do that. So here we go. So all I'm going to do is make 2 little trenches like that. Really simple, really straightforward, just like so. Get my seeds in my hand. There they are, they're quite big seeds actually. So all I'm going to do is go along like that. You know, if you're really worried about seed discipline, spacings, etc., you can go by what it says on the packet. Great thing about gardening, you find your own style over time. What some person else, whoever else likes, you might not like, and vice versa. And of course, we can all learn from other gardeners' styles, which is a very wise thing to do, in my opinion, or at least consider other people's styles anyway. And I'm just going to cover them over with a bit of the old so you can see there's ants actually in that growing medium I've been using here. I'm not going to worry too much about that. Of course, it'd be ideal if they weren't there, but as I stated earlier, this is non-specific gardening. So there we go. Now, there are some other things one could plant at this time of year, but at the end of the day, I've got to be able to find space in which to plant these out, and I'll probably end up giving some of these away, truth be told, due to space considerations, etc. But giving, you know, crops away is a nice thing to do, isn't it? So anyway, what else could one plant? So something like this. These are from Thompson & Morgan. Salad leaves, speedy mix, so lettuce leaves, etc., etc. They grow very quick, relatively easy to grow as well. You scatter them, you know, maybe the same way you saw how I did the radish seeds, you know, very informal I would. Another one there from Carter's, leaf salad, lettuce mix. Thompson & Morgan, salad leaves, Oriental mustards, so a bit on the old spicy side, which is all peppery, which is wonderful. And this is from Mr. Fothergill's Rocket Apollo. So there's some other ideas as well amongst other ones. So any other things you're planting this time of year? Comment in the comment section below and let myself and other viewers know, because we are all interested. So going to be watering these in now. They've had a little bit already actually from the little bit of rain we're currently having. So ideally I'd use a bigger watering can for these because it's going to take more time. It doesn't matter. I happen to have misplaced the rose on my for my bigger watering can, so I'm going to be using this. It's a smaller side, easier to control. Don't want to wash the seeds out, etc. So with regards to water to use, I prefer to use rainwater. So this is from one of my water butts. Some people say tap water is better. They prefer to use tap water for germinating seedlings. You know, personal preference. There are reasons some people say maybe germs, etc. in rainwater that's been hanging about, you know, in water butts, etc. So you might want to do your own research there and make your own decision as to how you go about using this, but my preferred choice is rainwater if possible. So there we go, put the rest of that on here. Now I won't allow these to dry out. I will be very vigilant with regards to this, because could still warm up, even though the summer, you know, appears to have left us temporarily anyway. Could warm up, and one common reason for seeds not germinating is lack of water, so you want to keep it moist, the growing medium that is. So they're going to be going in here to germinate. So this is a mini greenhouse within the polytunnel, so It's certainly not needed for any additional heat microclimate at this time of year anyway, simply because it's perfectly warm enough for these to germinate. The reason I want them in here is because if I tried to germinate them outside, which would happen, I could maybe put a net over them, something like that. It's just more additional work. I'd have to keep the birds off, wouldn't I? Whereas in here, unless the birds come in here, of course, with the door open, I don't have to worry too much about that. So these are going to go in here in order to germinate. So my Sicily giant radishes are going to go down there, so they'll just stay there and they'll germinate wonderful. So there we go. I hope you enjoyed that. There's a few little ideas for you. Of course, it's not exhaustive. Plenty more you could be planting, but you know, I'll leave that to people to talk about in the description box below if you wish. So yeah, really nice there. Really looking forward to these germinating. Should have some signs of germination within 2 weeks at this time of year. If I want, I can close the door of this tunnel, and when that's warm like that, it really does warm up very quickly in here, and of course that can increase the speed of the germination. I try to leave the door open if possible, of course, because of don't want fungal disease, so I have a nice bit of ventilation in here, particularly for my peach and nectarine trees, etc., and the tomatoes. It's just a good idea, really good ventilation. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that video, and I look forward to hear what you're planting, and plenty more to come. And I'll see you in the next one. As always, thank you very much for your time. See you soon.